connecting with the rebel networker of Dubai, who is Phil Bedford. So if you are either an entrepreneur or a business owner based in Dubai, or you are thinking of expanding your business into Dubai, Phil is somebody that needs to be on your radar. And there are a couple of reasons for this. The first one is he's incredibly well connected in Dubai. He's lived and worked here for a number of years, and his program, the Incentive program, is also tailored specifically to help business owners, and it will have an amazing effect on how you do business here. And obviously, if you're working efficiently, then you're going to thrive here, and you will then be able to focus on what's actually bringing the business into you. So Phil, thank you very much for sitting with me today, and it's always lovely to catch up with you. Would you be kind enough to introduce Incentive and what it's all about?
Okay, so hi everybody, and of course, lovely to catch up.
Thank you.
So yes, well, I think for a lot of people it's best to put it in terms of, when you open a business. There tends to be two kinds. There's people who open a business where they have loads of funds, and there's people who tend to bootstrap, which means they're paying it all themselves. But whichever way you launch the business, one of the key ways to get new clients is through relationships, through referrals, through your contacts, through client referrals. So this is one area of business which can be fundamental for startups who are limited with their funds. But even those that have funds, it's still one of the best ways to get clients, but people don't have a process around it. Now on the other side, there's another challenge a lot of business owners have, and it's problem solving. As the business owner, if you can solve your problems because you can pick up a phone and solve it like that, it means you can get back to doing the other things that we have to do in business. So what we've always found in Incentive is if you can build your own super powered personal network as a business owner, you can get the connections you want to the decision makers in any company and convert business, and you can surround yourself with high caliber, connected people that can solve problems for you like this, which means you can get back to doing what you want. So efficiency through relationships, and that's what Incentive specialises in.
There you go, and that's the end of today's video.
Thank you very much.
Only joking. Now, I actually met Phil, quite a few years ago now, and I attended a free workshop that he put on called Get Clients Now, and I've got to say it is still one of the best titles of a workshop out there, because as a business owner, that's what we all want. We all want new clients all the time. And I attended that event, and Phil has very cleverly defined his target market. He knows who his prospective clients are inside out. So he knows exactly what pain points to touch. And he touched my pain points, that I literally sat through the session thinking, oh my God, I need this. Oh my God, I don't do that. Or I stopped doing that. And the session really highlighted to me that as a business owner, I was very overwhelmed at that point and working in the business rather than on the business. And so I immediately signed up for Phil's program, and it's structured in a very, very clever way, because I think what entrepreneurs quite often struggle with is you can read a textbook, you can go to a course, you can learn everything, but you then don't go away and actually implement. But the unique thing that Incentive does is it's structured in such a way that it's over a period of, is it 3 months?
Correct.
3 months. And you go to a session, then you have 2 weeks in which you should implement the things that you've covered in that session and learned. So then at the next session, you're covering new topics, you go away and implement. And I know for me personally, when I've read books and attended events, if I don't action things that I've learned straight away, it doesn't happen. And so that's what I particularly loved about your program, and he also holds you accountable at each session as well. So perhaps you'd like to talk a little bit about the sorts of things that people would learn or cover in Incentive.
Well, I mean, the interesting thing is I found the material is quite comprehensive. And it's odd because I think people are going to learn one thing and they learn something completely different, but it is quite comprehensive. And it can go all the way from, where do you want your business to be in 3 or 5 years' time to make sure you're going in the right direction, to covering digital marketing, social media. But what's important to say as I talk about digital marketing, social media, is done from a completely different direction to the companies you would pay to do digital marketing or social media for you. So really the conversation we have is what does a business owner need to know about their time and what they need to be doing both with their money, their time, and their energy really to take their business where they want to go. And you're absolutely right what you said, it's about building it into the way you do business. I always, you guys set up businesses and you've been doing it brilliantly for ages. Whenever I meet anybody who says, I'm setting up my business, I said, well, go to an expert. They're like, no, I'd rather just go and do it myself. And you see them 3 months later and they've had nothing but a painful journey, loads of queues, loads of frustrations, loads of money. I'm like, well, why didn't you listen to me at the beginning? And they're like, well, yeah, you're right. But it's too late then, they've been through the pain. And so that's really what Ascentive is. It can take away all that trouble by helping people to make the right decisions for themselves rather than the wrong decisions.
And that's quite interesting that you've touched on that point, because that's something that we experience quite often as well. I think entrepreneurs, you start out on your own initially, and you are everything. You're the accountant, the marketeer, the business development, and physically doing whatever it is that the business is doing. And it's very hard to let go of that initially. And I think there is the mindset that if you do it yourself, you're saving money. And what you very quickly learn through Ascentive is managing your time, and your time is your most precious asset, and you need to be using that to make you money. So ultimately, if what you're doing isn't making you money, those are the tasks really that you should be delegating. And I mean, that's one of the things that I definitely took away from it. And it was like, quickly hire people, bring them in, and it freed up my time so that I could then focus on, right, where do I want my business going? It's not something I'd thought about before. And you even look at how much it actually costs to generate leads. So it goes into so much detail, but gets you focused on, actually, the business has been running for a little while now. I need to revisit where we are and where we want to be and how we're going to get there. And that's what this program, I think, really, really does well. It helps you achieve that. And
I think when you came in, you were already up and running, you were doing okay. I mean, you were busy, as you said before, kind of in the business. So you were in a bit of a more privileged position than a lot of people who are starting a business from the ground up, when they may be like cats in headlights going like this. And it really is that so many people, I think, when they start their own business, they come from a corporate. Right, and when you've been in a corporate, even if you're a subject matter expert, sales, marketing, whatever, the company takes care of everything for you.
You've got that support.
You've got it. You've got the boss you can go to, or if you are the boss, you've got the accounts, or you've got the driver, or you've got people to do stuff. And then suddenly, when you're on your own, they've all gone, buddy, and you're on your own. And the thing is, if you end up doing things that are not making money, well, you don't make any money. And there's only 2 activities in business: making money and losing money. And so really what Ascentive Pro is so clever at is really just helping people to focus on what's important to grow their business in so many different ways. And again, it really depends how you come to this in a business. But another big part of what we do is community. Napoleon Hill said you're the average of the 5 people you hang around. Okay, so if you're a business owner, go and hang around business owners who've done it and made the mistakes, but have the right mindset where they want to help support you to do that. So you become part of this entity where everyone's supporting each other. You've got an expert in sales, an expert in law, an expert in business setup, an expert in this, expert in that. And suddenly you've got people that can make life easy for you. But so many entrepreneurs are like, I'll just do this on my own. And then 5 minutes later, they're saying, well, it's so lonely at the top. That was your choice.
Actually, I was quite nervous before I came to the first session, because I had been on my own and I was thinking, all these other people that are going to be on the course with me they're going to be much better, they're going to be much more successful than me, and I was just nervous where I would fit in, and actually that was a totally wrong preconception on my part, because how it really works is you are meeting other people, but it's unique networking in that they're in exactly the same position as you. They're business owners. The struggles might not be the same. You might have already experienced what they're going through, or vice versa. And it's just networking at a totally different level. It's very different to networking with people that are employees in corporate positions. You feel that the people you meet are really understanding what you're going through. And so it becomes a support network. So you're meeting other people, and because you're going every couple of weeks to the sessions, you're actually building relationships with them. And I know from when I did it, I'm still in touch with some of the people that I was on the course with. We've done business together, we continue to do business together, and I mean, really saw the return on investment very, very quickly. Plus, obviously, the business started moving in the right direction again. So I think when I lost my way a little bit, it just refocused me more than anything. And I think sometimes you can be a little bit nervous to ask for help, because you don't want to be seen as a failure, but actually when you're struggling, that's when you need to be asking for help.
Do you know, so it's interesting how often I hear people who've just started the program, and they turn around to me and go, "Oh my gosh," I said, what's happening? They say, like, "I thought I was the only one that thought like this. I thought I was the only one that couldn't and shouldn't and didn't know enough. And I've just realised I'm like them, they're like me." And you can see the pressure go off.
It's so comforting.
Yeah, it's beautiful that you said that. But one of the confusions I find is we've used the word networking a few times.
Right.
And you've used it because you know what it really is.
Yes.
Most people do not understand what networking truly is.
So do you want to explain that?
Well, I think for a lot of people...
briefly, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, how long you got? But networking for a lot of people really is a bad word. You know, it installs fear because they think of walking into a room and handing out business cards, and then they have to move into some kind of a sales conversation. Or networking is just hanging around with people who do the similar thing to you, right? But you know, from a sort of sales perspective, handing out business cards is not networking. That's handing out business cards. And then following up for most people is not networking, it's sales. So most people are not experiencing networking. I think what you've got to look at is networking in its true way, is building relationships with the right people to solve problems, contribute to society, and really just have a more efficient and effective business. Now, if you start to look at it that way, then suddenly our friends we network with, our family we network with, we're networking now here today. Because what you're doing is adding value. You know, when you ring up a friend and ask for help, it's because you've added value in the past. And I think, unfortunately, a lot of people miss that whole thing of, well, I know how to network because I've been to 10 events and I picked up 10 business cards and I had a client once. Well, that was lucky. Or how about having some sort of process around it so you can exponentially do that and solve all the problems as well. So really, I suppose it's almost like most people are riding a horse, when they could have a stable of all these different kinds of cars and motorbikes and aeroplanes, but currently they've got a horse and they think they know it all. And I was there as well.
I think we
that's where I was as well until I knew more.
And I think one of the things you used to always say to us was, what happens when people go to these events and they're meeting new people is you're trying to get across what it is that you do, and you are selling yourself. And actually the better thing to do is to actually listen to what the other person is saying to you, because otherwise all we're actually doing is we're just talking at each other and nobody's doing the listening. So you can quite often get a lot of information just from the very first meeting with somebody of what their struggles are. Maybe you can help them, maybe you can connect somebody to help them. And then that's a massive build up in that relationship just from that first interaction.
100%. I mean, you could ask yourself right now, can you remember the last time you had a really big problem and somebody helped you out? How does it feel? How do you feel about that person? And it's like, oh my goodness, oh thank you so much, I'll do anything for you.
Yeah.
Well, if you could take that energy where someone's helped you and you start doing that for other people, which is what you're talking about, in an environment where normally everybody's pouncing on each other, and you can turn that energy around to how can I help people? How can I help you solve this problem and that problem and that problem by listening? And of course we have to listen, we can't talk because we can't learn what the problems are if we're doing all the talking. But if you can change that energy, suddenly you become a great resource for everybody and people want to be around you.
And you're memorable to
And
them.
you're memorable, absolutely. And this is the problem. People are approaching networking from a sales perspective. So if everybody's selling, no one's listening.
And you touched on community there. So this is sort of like an add-on package that people can buy if they're joining up for the Ascension program. And this is an opportunity to meet on a monthly basis and network with other business owners who are based in Dubai. And I also went through that program, and it's really interesting because it's like networking at a higher level, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean the masterminds specifically hit the challenge of information and support. Okay, so if you've got a community, a lot of people network to get clients. Okay, you can also network to find information, and you can network to get support. Right, so you need to decide what your group is for. But our masterminds primarily are there to help business owners become even better business owners. Well, that's done through information and support. And like I said before, you've got a sales expert, a legal expert, an accountancy expert, and they all just share from their knowledge. So it's about deciding what you want your network to do. But I always think of it in terms of, going through the African jungle. Right. So imagine you're going through the elephant grass, which is taller than us, and you're going, and you're fighting to get through. This is obviously an analogy. So you're fighting to get through. So who cuts down the grass in a business? Who would that be? Cutting down the grass is going to be your workers, right? So who's telling them where to cut and when to have a break and when to swap? Well, that's the supervisors or the managers, right? But the question is, where's the leader? So the leader's up the ladder going, oops, not that way, that way. But the problem is for small business owners is they're doing this. And they keep forgetting to go up the ladder. And unless you go up the ladder, you waste time, waste money, waste energy, and you can't solve the problems you're going to get because you're down here. So the masterminds once a month force you to go up the ladder. And it's so powerful.
Now, the incentive program runs for a period of 3 months, but there is an option that you can upgrade and you can actually go through the program, but over the period of 12 months. So you can go through it for the initial 3 months and then repeat it and repeat it. And the benefit of doing that is once you've gone through the program once, there are certain things that you would have picked up and implemented, and they tend to be the things that are easier for
that you're
you.
naturally doing.
Yes, and that would be different for every person. And then the second time you go through it, it is amazing how you pick up totally different things that just didn't even sort of go onto your radar the first time. So I would recommend, if you are in a position that you are interested to work with Phil, develop your business and join the incentive program, it's valuable to do it once, unquestionably. But if you are in a position that you can actually take the top package and do it over an annual basis and dip in and out, or literally just do it for a whole year, that is invaluable, because you don't realise how much you don't pick up the first time because it is so content rich. There's so much there. And even now, we still refer back to the manuals because you don't remember everything, and you get ideas and you think, oh, I was doing that and I've forgotten to do it. So I think that's really invaluable, and obviously the networking from it as well. And as you're building those relationships, they become friends. They start introducing you to their network. We've had nights out where we've gone to dressed up as ABBA, and we've gone to little ABBA gigs, and all sorts of things can happen from it. So as much as it's business, it is actually really enjoyable as well.
Yeah, it's a great tip there actually, and there will be people here thinking, well, hold on, if it's that good, why should I have to go through twice, 3 times? And it's interesting you said that. And I think it's a little bit like if you're going to do martial arts, you don't sign up at the dojo and go straight to a black belt.
It's practice.
You have to go through layers, because what they're teaching you as a black belt won't make sense until you've done white, yellow, red, brown. You just can't jump it. So you can certainly go through it once and make a massive difference. But this is where I think you did so well, particularly, is you, for lack of a better word, you overachieved. Every opportunity you had, you were diving in there and diving. And I can't remember, how many, 4 times, 5 times you did it in a year?
No, I didn't do it that many.
Well, you did it a lot.
2.5.
Well, because you did the 3-day and then you did a couple, minimum 3. But I remember you went in quite a few times, and it was just easy to see that you were really running with it. And then you can actually see as a participant what other people haven't got yet. So yeah, it is different. But there are some people that won't go through it twice.
Yeah.
It's just the way they are. So in that case, we have things like coaching where they can implement it. But I think that's great advice. Great advice on your part.
Well, thank you very much. I think we've probably covered it pretty well, and I think we've also given you some really useful tips here. But is there anything that you would like to sort of say as a parting sort of word of advice, or talk about how they can get involved with the incentive scheme? Obviously, we will put the links to Phil's website and social media in the comments so that you can connect with him. But obviously we think it's invaluable, which is why we've asked to create this video with Phil. But any messages?
I just think it's, from my perspective, is, that all I would say, perfectly honestly, you said about target market, is what I do is not for everybody. There are people out there that just would rather spend money in terms of their marketing and their problems, and that's absolutely fine. But if you're the kind of person that really enjoys being part of a community, who is driven to succeed, who wants to help each other, and is tired of being alone, and just really enjoys that energy, reach out, we'll have a chat.
And actually that's a good point. Sorry, I'm going to extend this now. It's a very positive environment to be in, so there's no reason to be fearful or nervous. It will make you feel good. You go away after every session feeling empowered and feeling energized to make a difference.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for watching. Massive thank you to Phil for joining me today, and check the description and connect with Phil. Thank you.
Here's how you can connect with Phil. He's the Rebel Networker on Instagram. Buy his best-selling books on Amazon, and visit therebelnetworker.com to sign up for the Incentive course, book one-to-one coaching, and join one of his networking events in Dubai.